Hi again, violin students, beginner violin students I'm talking to. We're going to talk about how to play with the instrument on your shoulder, in shoulder position, and we'll review the setup for getting that ready. So I have my sponge on, like I showed you in the previous video. I'm going to hold the violin from down here. I'm going to lower my hand down to the back, curl my fingers over. I'm going to turn the violin over, and I'm going to lift it up to my shoulder. I'm going to lay my jaw in here. Now, over your bed, I recommend. You can practice this, but have this hand holding the violin. You can start to consider removing this hand. I want you to hold the violin here and then over your bed, in case you were to drop your violin, you won't hurt it. You can start to move your hands away from the instrument. The reason I'm doing this, and the reason you need to consider doing it, is you need to get comfortable holding the violin with your jaw on your shoulder. I know it feels a little odd and it takes a while to get things adjusted the way you feel right, but you'll get used to it. Maybe your sponge has to turn a little bit, your collarbone. Everybody's a little different. Oh, it's what's happening, what's going to work. But you need to get comfortable holding this violin because eventually we're going to be using our left hand to play, as you see all violins do, violinists, and they need to be able to move their hands very freely and equally. They don't want to be held onto the violin because it's going to drop. So that's something you can practice a lot right now when you're standing up above your bed. Okay, so keep this hand ready. Keep this hand close by, start removing this, and eventually I'm going to have you walking around with your instrument, but not until you're confident that you're not going to drop it. Always keeping your hands ready. But this is where we're going to need to get to a point where we can comfortably do this. Okay? So don't expect that to happen right away. It takes a while, and I certainly don't want to see anybody think that they are ready and they end up dropping the violin and breaking it. Okay? So practice that. Now, how do we play the violin in this position? Well, we originally were in guitar position. I'm playing with our thumb. Well, now we're going to take the violin and turn it up onto our hand, onto our shoulder, but we're not going to use our thumb this time. Okay, this doesn't work this way. Okay, so you imagine you had your hand on the bottom and your thumb on the G string side. Just imagine taking your hand off now for a minute and doing what I do with the cellos. Thumb up, first finger out. This is your right hand. Rotate it forward. Now hook it right on the corner of that fingerboard. Hook your thumb. Notice my pinky is up here, not down here. My arm is not dropped. I'm not trying to reach across the instrument. I have my hand, again, out, rotate forward, thumb on the corner of the fingerboard, reach over to the G string. Now I'm going to pluck this string, letting my first finger just fall over to the next string, the D string. Now I'm going to move over from the D to the A string, just plucking and letting my finger sort of release the D string. Then I release the A string so I can rest on the E string. And then I just gently let my finger fall away on the E. So you practice these strings, G, D, A, E. And I don't want to see you letting your hand drop down and you're plucking down here because this is where your bow is going to go and we don't want to touch down there. We want to be up over the fingerboard. So remember your elbow's up a little bit, your hand is upside down with your pinky on top, thumb is on the fingerboard on the corner, and you can start to learn your strings. Now I'm going to tell you right now, we're going to focus very soon on these two strings. All right, these are your two middle strings, the D and the A. Now let me turn the violin around so it's like you would see it. All right, so now I've got it turned around from me. This is how you're looking this way up the instrument. This is your G string, this is your D, this is your A, and furthest over here is your E. Okay, so that's where we would have our thumb on the E string side, reaching over to the G string side. Okay, so you're not trying to go from this side, the opposite side. You have your thumb on the G string side, on your shoulder, reaching over, plucking. Okay, notice I'm holding the violin very securely here. When I'm done playing, and my arm is getting a little tired because this is very tiring when you first start out. Lower your right arm, come back up, hold the bottom, return the violin to this upright position, and get your hand back over to rest position. And you're ready to either put your violin back down in the case or take a break and then get ready to play again. Okay, eventually you're going to get very good and comfortable with this. We won't even lower your left hand. You'll just hold the bottom maybe and just put it up there. Okay, some people who get very good at this can just do this all with one hand. It is awkward though, and it's hard on your arm, so give it some help. You don't want to have a cramp and then drop your violin. All right, now remember when you go to put your violin away, it's really important that you don't put it away with that sponge still on there. So flip the violin over, still holding the neck, release the sponge, put it down under the neck of your violin, and then lower it down into the case. Okay? Now, anybody has a pet at home? My cat loves this. Be careful. All right? They will try to get that, the rubber band. They also love to sleep in your case. So be careful of that. I find actually cello cases and violin cases with lots of pet hair in them. So be careful who crawls into your case when you're not looking. Good luck, and I'll continue on with other videos as we go further on learning to play the violin and the cello.